Hey, this is Remi Warren, and I'm on the Wilderness Attitude podcast. You should give her a listen. You might learn something about me that I may not have wanted to divulge. Who knows? One story where he was driving in the truck, some elk run across the road. The guy grabs his gun, accidentally pulls the trigger, shoots through the floorboard, blows out his right front tire. So my grandpa took the tire, hung it up in the tree with all the other elk. He's like, "Give me your tag." Punched his tag and put it on the tire. And he's like, "Give me the arrow in case the bear comes in." I looked at him. I was like, "You got to be kidding me. Give me your bow." You know, it was like you couldn't hit an elk when it was laying there. We aren't going to play this game with the bear. Right. Very crazy experience when someone you really care about is missing.
Right.
And they actually don't think that she's there. You got to call it, your wife's out there, and what are you going to find? A body? It's a very emotional experience.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Wilderness Attitude podcast. We really appreciate you finding some time to listen to what we got going on. And we're here at the Western Hunt Expo in Salt Lake City, and we're hanging out in the Wilderness Athlete booth. And I got a really special guest today. Remi Warren has stopped by, and we're going to try to find something interesting to talk about with you, and hope you enjoy it. And I'm sure you're not. If you're not familiar with who Remi is, then you're welcome to come out from under the rock and or out of the cave and join in, into the hunting world, right? And anyway, Remi Warren with Solo Hunter, and of course he's here a little bit on behalf of Wilderness Athlete as well. And thanks for coming on the show, Remi.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So take me back into a little background with you and Wilderness Athlete. How'd that all come about?
I've been using Wilderness Athlete it's pretty much since Wilderness Athlete was Wilderness Athlete. There's a dark time in Wilderness Athlete's history when you couldn't even find the stuff.
Right.
I think it was like black market buying it, but
out of the van.
Yeah, out of the van. I think I can't even remember where I got it. It was either at a show or from a client. I think it was from one of my clients. Because I started out, I still do, guiding a lot. And, my fall would consist of starting August 1st, and I would be done probably the week before Christmas most years, and I have zero days off.
Right.
So, a lot of people think a 5-day hunt's long, 123-day hunt.
Yeah,
there's no recovery days. Like, if I got a day off, I would go hunt harder on that day off than I did when I was guiding. Because I might only get, just the weekends to go hunt. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of needed something, and the Gatorade, it just wasn't, I just didn't really like it that much. Plus, when you're, in the back country or in these, you just can't go, you aren't carrying Gatorade in.
No, exactly.
So I was like, oh, cool. Because at that time, there wasn't a lot of performance drink mixes. And I thought, oh, Wilderness Athlete, that's pretty cool. And then so I just started using it and thought, okay, it actually helped me. Because I just never got recovery time. It was 123 days of just straight hunting hard.
Yeah.
And when I was guiding, or when I'm guiding, it was packing out 2 elk and 2 deer a week for 10 weeks. That's just a lot. And then on the weekend, you go and hike further than you could with those guys.
Yeah. To go get where you
wanted to be. Because I would use my easy spots for the guys that couldn't hike hard.
Yeah, we're out of shape.
And then on the weekend, it'd be scouting and / hunting for myself. And I generally wouldn't even shoot anything for myself till the last day of the season because I just like to be out there and know what's going on, keep a pulse on everything. So that's kind of how I got hooked up with Wilderness Athlete is just, I'm the lab rat that I know it works. I've taken it to the proving grounds just as far as I consider. Yeah. So it's just something that I've pretty much used for, I don't even know, probably 10 years. I can't even remember, to be honest.
Well, that's cool, and it's done wonders for me in my life. There's no doubt about it. It's definitely at my age, recovery is really where it's at. I can still do quite a bit of things, but it just takes me longer to recover and recoup as I got older, and so it helps. I like to think in the back of my mind it's given me a lot of advantage, and I use everything they got for the most part, and I think that it's just part of my repertoire. It's made me healthier and kept me more aligned with my goals too, because it's like if I'm going to spend $300 a month on this stuff, then I need to be taking the best advantage of what I'm doing with it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting in the gym, getting in the woods, making sure that I'm utilizing it to my best advantage.
For sure.
Now you made a mention to me, or you mentioned, that you got days where you're scouting. You're running out there with these when you're guiding, and you got these guys, and you're taking them out in the woods, and you're doing this stuff, and then you're kind of scouting at the same time. Have you ever seen a big animal and been like, "Oh no, you don't see that"?
No, I never have. I mean, for the most part, it's just not in me. There's been people that I just think are just a-holes to the max, and you go, and then you end up, and you're looking through your binos, and you see something that they don't deserve, and you're like, why? But I just can't hold back, you know? It's just not in my nature, I give everyone my best, whether they deserve it or not.
Right.
And to be honest, I mean, I will walk them into the ground for sure. That's just part of the job. Like, if you are not a nice person and you don't deserve it, I will punish you on the mountain.
Nicely, with a smile.
Yeah, with a smile. It's just like that. I walk ahead, 100, 200 yards, and you're out of breath, and as soon as you catch up, I go. We don't talk.
Right.
We just walk.
Well, and you're doing that for their benefit anyway, because
exactly.
know that if they talk, they're not going to do as well.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it's a catch-22, because the guys that you don't like and you walk them a lot, they end up hunting harder and end up getting something better. But that's just the nature of the beast.
No, I mean that's really the mainstay of who you are, right? Is a professional guide.
Yeah, definitely.
And so when and where in your life did this come into play, where you wanted to be a professional guide, and this whole journey you've been on, it has such a cool roller coaster, epic highs and lows and all this stuff, but in the bottom there's the guiding.
Yeah, for sure. I always knew that I wanted to be a hunting guide. I think my grandpa was actually an outfitter, but it was before I was pretty much even born. But I just hear stories of him guiding, and I thought, that's what I want to do. You can do that.
What about his stories attracted you as a young man?
I think it was just the fact, like, he just had some hilarious stories, but he loved hunting, and he got to go out hunting all the time. And I thought, that's cool. Oh, you could get paid to go hunting? Like, I'm all about that. That's cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. And he had, obviously, some of the stories, he would always tell the worst stories. And those necessarily weren't the ones that got me like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, but, it's just part of it. Like, I kind of knew what I would be getting into in some fashion. But, he guided back in the day when just everything was a little bit crazier,
Yeah.
But he told me one story. I mean, he had a few. Like, one story where he was driving in the truck, some elk run across the road. The guy grabs his gun, accidentally pulls the trigger, shoots through the floorboard, blows out his right front tire. Right. So my grandpa took the tire, hung it up in the tree with all the other elk. He's like, "Give me your tag." Punched his tag and put it on the tire.
No shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. But, but he had all kinds of great stories just of things he'd seen and just cool.
Well,
cool
what age were you when you what age were you when you maybe got into the first camp?
Oh, I don't even remember. Probably 4 or 5, something like that.
Really young.
Yeah. Just hunting with my dad. By that point, he didn't really have his outfitting business or anything, but he still had camps and stuff and in Montana. And would take us out hunting, and I'd go. First time I had my own elk tag, I was probably 12 or 13 with them hunting in Montana, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then I was fortunate enough, maybe when I was 16, to get to go on a guided hunt. It was actually the guy that used to guide for my grandpa. I was like, hey, why don't you come out with us in eastern Montana? I thought that was I was like, okay, this is cool, man. If I could have that guy's job.
Made it.
I was like, this is cool, yeah. It was just fun to go out and kind of experience that. And be like, okay, this is an actual job people have. This is awesome.
No, and you get paid to do something you're so passionate about,
exactly.
right? I mean, people spend their whole lives trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I figure the first time I got a guiding job after high school. I mean, a lot of things happened. It's a long story, but it ended up being the guy I was working for had a heart attack. and then I was left to kind of run everything. I was the only person in camp. It was my first week guiding. I was in an area that I had never been in. It was a very crazy experience, and it ended up working out where we'd get up as early archery season, so the days were long. I ended up, have to get up, cook breakfast for the guys, then guide all day, and then get back, feed the horses, feed the dogs, do everything.
Make dinner.
Yeah, I slept probably 2.5, 3 hours a night.
Ew.
And it worked out. I made less than, I think it was $1.30 an hour. And I said to myself, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I was just hooked. I thought, okay, the fact that what they didn't know is I would have done it for free.
Right.
It feels like I've never worked a day in my life. It's
right.
hard work, but it's something that I love. So it feels like I've never worked,
And that's, like I say, people search their whole lives for that.
Yeah,
exactly. To try to find that genuine passion. I mean, so many people don't realize who they are until they're about to die.
Yeah.
And you're extremely fortunate that from the very beginning it just kind of clicked for you and you were able to figure that out. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a very singularly focused individual. Hunting has been my life since I was a kid. And
that's what makes you a flat-out killer.
Yeah.
Is because how focused you can be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while my brothers were doing other stuff, hanging out, going to the lakes during the summer, when I was growing up, I was shooting my bow every day.
Right.
All day. It wasn't like I'm going to go shoot my bow. It was I would get up during summer break when I was
eat, sleep, walk,
shoot my bow,
drink,
and
bow.
it was just just think about hunting, read about hunting, lived it 24/7.
Well, that's pretty cool. You had the opportunity. I mean, what if you didn't grow up in that realm? I mean, you ever thought about? Had that not, who would you be?
Yeah.
What would you be doing now? You have any clue?
No clue.
No, because you've been staying focused, man.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you hear all these stories from your grandpa, your father, and stuff like that. I mean, they obviously are the biggest influencers in your life, I would think, then.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they played a big role in that, for sure. My dad enjoyed hunting. I think, he enjoyed it, and I was just obsessed with it.
Right.
Any kind of hunting I could get my hands on. My dad never duck hunted, and then I was started reading books about duck hunting and started, and started figured out how to duck hunt, and then would take him duck hunting, and same with bow hunting,
And
those things. It was kind of cool.
Was he able to facilitate for not only for you, but as well your siblings, all of their passions? I mean, was he that kind of dad that just whatever, man?
Yeah, he was. It was really cool because I actually, out of my brothers, I was the only one that hunted. But now, growing up, because they were into other things. But now both my brothers are really into hunting, especially my brother Jason. I mean, he was he's one of my main guides. We've guided together, we've hunted all over together. But before he really got into the hunting, he was big into action sports, snowboarding and wakeboarding, and he didn't even go to high school. He was just on a traveling snowboard team and was a professional snowboarder at the age of 17. And then he one big crash, and he's like, man, this might not work for the rest of my life.
Right. Yeah, I broke my back skiing, and I know it's man, maybe I don't want to really be this crazy anymore.
Exactly.
It doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And your other brother, what did he do?
He was into photography and art and things like that. And, now he's an architect and still does that kind of stuff, but enjoys hunting, and he's way into cooking and food and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's funny now we're all, really into hunting. And not that they weren't into it, it just wasn't their primary focus.
Well, it's like me when I was younger. I mean, I didn't start hunting really until about 8 years ago. I had a stepdad and a stepbrother that went hunting every year, went deer hunting every year and elk hunting every year, and it was never anything for me. I mean, when I was in high school, my stepbrother and stepsister, they were in 4-H, raising animals and showing stuff. And, man, I was dirt bike, rock and roll, drugs.
Whatever.
Long hair, 80s music, man. I was off running amok, right? And so for me, getting into hunting has been a really cool thing. It's, even when I met my wife, I wasn't a hunter. And I mean, my listeners know this story over and over. But, but now it's I don't know. I think that I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it somewhere back then because I'm sure that I would have done it.
Oh, yeah.
Same feelings and emotions I have for it now. But, and so it's strange how some people, how they have the ebb and flow as a hunter as well, right? So, I mean, at this point, you've been hunting so long, like there's people that get into hunting in the beginning and they get into it because it's challenging, or it's some adventure, or it's outdoors, right? And then it's like now you're killing things. Now you want to kill bigger things, and then you want to hunt more things, more variety of things, and then you're getting to the point where now it's like I'm only going to go on I'm not going to even do my in-state muley tag anymore. I'm on this epic level at this point, and then have you gotten to the point where now it's not? Well, and then I guess some people. Well, I guess you were in the guiding thing through all that, so you were helping people all along. But what about now your brothers or nieces and nephews and family? Are you at that level now where you're doing that, where it's more important to make sure that they get their stuff filled and it's not about you anymore? Or
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, my fiance just got into hunting, so she just shot her first deer this year, and that was really cool. That was one of my favorite hunts, is just see her go through the paces and things that after she got her deer, it was like, I remember being you when I was a kid. It's like I liked seeing that. Yeah. It's like, okay, you fell in love with it like I did. It's cool, and it's like anybody can enjoy it.
Was it kind of a refresher for you?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever
definitely.
get to the point in your hunting where you get a little stagnant, where it's like, killed another bull or whatever?
Well, not really, but
no?
I mean, it does. It was different kind of refresher. Where it's like, okay, it was just kind of cool to see. But
I mean, it's hard you say that was one of your favorite hunts this year, but then you talk about what happened with you and the Ranella crew and the whole bear gig and that whole hunt. I mean, obviously they're on two different levels and different spectrums, but to look back on that and be like, I mean, I saw the smile on your face. That was surely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was a great experience, because it's like something you only get to experience once. Mm-hmm. And even though every hunt's different, some of them start to seem like you're guiding, you're hunting elk. There's a formula to it. You find every hunt is a 3-step process. Find the animal, kill the animal, pack the animal back to wherever you're going. That's it. That's all. That's all the secret.
You're making it sound way too easy, dude. Because my wife's going to think I suck. Because if it's only a 3-step process, it's got to be more than that. Because I mean, there's got to be more technical steps in there somewhere, Remi.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you go find the animal, and then sometimes the leap between step 1 and step 2 is tough, and then sometimes you got to start back at step 1. If you just keep doing those 3 steps, you just remember those 3 steps, you'll be fine.
So maybe I'm just overcomplicating
it. Paralysis by analysis. Exactly. A lot of people get in the action and they think too much.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think what's crazy is I think in some of my earlier hunts I didn't do that, and then last year I cost myself a bull because of that.
Yeah.
Because the few deer prior years there, I remember making shots where I kind of black out. Like, I don't remember the process. I don't remember my shot sequence. I don't remember anything about some of that. And it's like, and even picking my placement and my pin, I don't remember that. I mean, I have great shots, and it all worked out, and they all died very quickly, and it was fantastic. But then this year I thought to myself, okay, I want to be more in the moment. I want to go through my shot placement, and I want to go through the process. I want to be present for it, because I felt like I was missing something. Oh, I was missing something, all right. I missed an elk because I took too damn long to go through my shot process to make sure that I had it all. It was ridiculous. But, I remember standing there thinking, okay, take a deep breath. Okay, this, that, okay, level, all right, pick your point, boom, bull gone. And I know that I've made all my other kills in half that time. You know?
Well, we've tried to turn throwing sharp, pointy sticks into rocket science. It's not rocket science. Right. Man goes out in the woods, finds animal, brings animal back. It's as simple as that. I mean, sometimes you just get so, like, all these, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. It's like all these articles and tips. There's a certain amount where you just have to go out and do it and not even think about it. It's like if you start analyzing every move and this and that, you've just missed your opportunity.
And gear, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm these arrows or this and that. It's like, gosh, I mean, I get down to the point where 2 weeks before I'm going hunting, and I'm like, maybe I should refletch those.
Yeah.
Maybe I should shoot a different arrow, what about this other broadhead? What about this? And then next thing you know, I'm like out there trying to retune my bow and do all this different stuff to change all this stuff, and like it's going to make it different.
Yeah.
And this year I've actually decided, I tried to sell a couple bows and try to buy a new bow, and this year I decided, you know what? No, I'm not doing it, man.
Stick with what works sometimes.
I shoot this bow just fine.
Yeah.
Why would I do that, you know? So it's good to hear you say that. I'm taking a mental note on that. Because I sometimes get a little carried away there.
Not that, I mean, there is a science and an art to everything. I'm not discrediting that.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, I know a lot of people it happens to, and I've even been guilty of it before, where you just try to analyze it so much that you just end up shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You know?
Almost.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
So worried about your next move, you forget to take the move that's presented to you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's the thing, too, is just being aware, right? Just being in the moment and being aware. You know, it's like you get off your phone and put your Garmin down and just soak up, slow down, be a part of nature, right?
Yeah.
Engross yourself in it.
Sure.
It'll tell you. It'll show you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm sure through all the years of your guiding that you've had some intimate relationships with nature and animals and things like that. But have you ever guided someone who's changed your life?
No.
Or just prospectively given you something that.
I mean, I think that, you know, every time, you know, especially new hunters, like it's just it's a cool experience for me because, you know, they've never hunted, but they're going through the motions, and you know, it's kind of like you watch them and you clearly know they don't know what they're doing, but also it's cool, like it kind of tests your skills as well. Because it goes, okay, like, can I get this person that has zero ability to do what they're trying to do to be successful? Mm-hmm. So every time it's like, okay, that worked out. That's like, I check that as a win in my box. Like, it made me better. I really got to test, do I know what I'm doing? Do I, you know, or am I just relying on other people around me? And that's part of it. And that's part of the reason that I like to hunt alone is because you know what you're capable of. It's not like, it's one of those weird epiphanies. I think the first time I hunted by myself, you go, I've done this. I was probably 13, I think, and I'd done it since I'd shot birds since I was probably 8 years old or whatever.
Right.
But the first time I went alone, it was a completely different experience because nobody was there to hold my hand. Nobody was there. I wasn't just a young hunter that day. I wasn't just whatever. I was a hunter. You know, I did it on my own, and I knew what I was doing, and it was it was kind of like a new experience in that aspect. So every time I guide someone, or especially people that really need help, like they just don't know what they're doing, it really kind of is that it's essentially like hunting alone, but maybe a little more difficult in some aspects.
Right.
So I kind of take that from it and even learn in those situations where you try to control the uncontrollable, and it just makes you better at what you do in the long run.
Absolutely. So have you ever, there's got to be that one guide story. That one story as a guide. I mean, can you take it down to one story?
I've got like a whole list of them. Let me think here. I've got quite a few. Yeah. So I don't even know which one to tell, but there was one. This one's just like the thing you never do is you never tell your guide how could anyone miss, right? So I was in North Carolina, and I'm at the sports show, and these guys were going to come hunting with me, archery. And they go, what's your success rate? You know, that used to be the thing. Now I was like, I hate that question. Like,
you're the success rate.
Exactly. I was like, with a bow. And I'm like, well, you know, to be honest, it's like within 30 yards of an elk, 100%. I'd say, but out of those people, 25% kill. How's that? I don't know, people miss, shit gets in the way, things happen. You know, well, if you put an elk 20 yards in front of me, there's no way I could miss. An elk's huge. How could anyone miss? It's like, don't say that, dude.
You just jinxed yourself.
So we're, of course, it's now September, and we're out elk hunting. And, you know, we get in the group, call in this bull. This bull runs in, stops at 18 yards broadside. I don't even know where that arrow went, but it wasn't anywhere near the elk. And that guy was like, I need to check my bow. And I look at him like, this is not the bow, man.
Did you say that to him,
I
literally?
was like, we can shoot, whatever, It's like, oh, man. So then, like, it gets down to the last day of the season, and I cut, go around this point, I cut back in, or not last day of the season, but last day of his hunt. And so we're following, and I see some really fresh elk tracks. So I get out my elk call, and then I cut into the wind to where the elk tracks are going, and I can smell a bull. So I'm like, okay. I was like, there's an elk here. What? I was like, no, I know there's an elk here. I'm just going to start cow calling, see what happens. So I start cow calling, and sure enough, like a few minutes later, this bull comes in silent, starts
sneaking
walking
in.
there. Yeah, sneaking in. Got my range, okay, 30 yards or 33 yards. And he goes to draw them, it's like, get ready, because I see it, okay. And goes behind a tree and range him again. Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, okay. And he goes to draw back and punches his trigger, and the arrow goes maybe 4 feet in front of us.
Doink.
And real calmly, I say, okay, do that again, but draw back this time and don't accidentally shoot. Just to try to calm him down.
Finger behind the release.
Just trying to calm him down a little bit. And then, so he gets another arrow on. The elk doesn't necessarily care that we're there. And he draws back again, shoots, and it's way low. So I'm like, okay. And the bull runs out, and I bugle, and it stops 60 yards or something. And he gets another arrow on, shoots, hits it, and then the bull, like, runs off. I bugle again. It stops at 100 yards. I see it bleeding. Well, you hit it. I don't know where the other ones went. Good.
Right.
So we just sit down. The bull goes off. And then he'd hit it. There's a spot on elk that I've seen it hit a lot. Like, I've seen elk hit everywhere they could possibly be hit.
Right.
And there's a spot that looks like a heart shot, but it's just a little too low.
No man's land.
Yeah, but no, it actually gets into the intestine, because the intestine drops low.
Comes up.
Behind. Yeah, so it's when they're angled, when they're quartering to you, but it looks broadside, and they shoot just off the leg to the right, it actually goes, like, below. It's technically a gut shot, but it looks like a heart shot. It's a very weird shot. Not a lot of it just seems like it happens on elk. Maybe because they're so big, there's that gap, whereas a deer, you would have clipped the heart. It just there's this weird zone right there. So it'd been hit there, and followed tracks and nothing, and the blood ekes up. I'm like, okay. So he's got 2 arrows left in his quiver, and it's about dark. I'm just, like, standing there thinking. We're about a mile and a half away from where we saw the bull. And I, like, look, and the ground's just disturbed in a weird way. So I just follow it. But, I mean, there's elk tracks everywhere. I follow it and find one speck of blood. And I get him. Okay.
Like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just random luck. And we follow it, and we can hear the bull's there kind of thrashing around. I'm like, that, but it's real thick alders and stuff. I'm like, something's not right. Like, something. So we, like, listen for a little bit, and there's a bear on the bull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. But the bull's still alive, and I'm wondering if the bear, like, there's no grizzlies here, but black bear.
Right.
So I was like, got him down. So I'm like, okay. So we make some noise. But I'm like, you got to finish this elk off. So we hear the bear crash off, and it was woofing in the brush by us. So I'm like, okay, so let's just kill this elk, get the elk done, and then we'll deal with the bear. So I get the guy there 20 yards away. He draws back. This must have been, can't remember. I think this was his second. Oh, so he shoots, and somehow it ping pongs in the timber, and hits the elk in, like, the back end, going the direction that the elk's laying. So it somehow hit it, and the arrow's not even going the way that we were shooting.
Like boomeranged.
Yeah, like boomeranged. Somehow, I don't know, but it's, like, barely sticking in. I'm like, oh, God, And then, so I think that must have been either he missed one or whatever. So it's like the last arrow. I'm like, screw this. So I go up, and you can hear that bear wolfing in the bushes. We have nothing to defend ourselves. And the guy's like, I pulled one of the arrows out because the elk had expired. And he's like, give me the arrow in case the bear comes in. I looked at him. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Give me your bow. It was like you couldn't hit an elk when it was laying there. We aren't going to play this game with the bear.
Right.
And it turns out So we like make a bunch of noise. The bear finally leaves, and it's about to get dark. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna work real quick, cut it up, and we'll come back in the next day and take the meat out and everything. And so that first shot, not the one that went halfway, but the one that actually like went low, that it hit the bull in its front like hoof. And the bull still stuck around, so it was just so rutted up that it didn't even pay attention.
I had a friend that shot a buck in the hoof. He misranged and literally shot it in the hoof, and the thing took off running with the arrow in its hoof, running away. Yeah, It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, just like crazy things happen when you're out there a lot.
Right.
I mean, so I say, like, I just have 100 stories that most people, I've had multiple lifetimes of experience in the field, and just shit happens. I mean, things happen. You go, okay, that's crazy. There's just, I've got a stack of stories that are just, I would come home after every guiding season and just share these stories with my family and friends. They'd be like, this is crazy. But it's like you're out there every day for, at this point, I don't even know. You think, how long have we been guiding? A long time. I don't know.
I mean, how many days do you have? Do you do realize you have a book in the making, right?
Yeah. Well, so when I first told my parents that I wanted to be a hunting guide, they're like, well, what are you going to, because I had a scholarship for college. And they're like, well, you going to go to school? And I was like, no. Well, I think I'm going to take the fall semester off, then I'll go back to school. But I was like, I'm going to go travel around, I'm going to guide, and I'm going to write a book after the season. Well, 15 years later, there's still no book, and I've got more stories than I probably remember. But, it's just, that's the cool thing about it, is like every day is different. You never really know what's going to happen out there. And some crazy stuff happens. And you get to see a lot of cool things like that most people will never get to see or experience.
I got your title. One hunt at a time.
There you go. That's good. I might
steal it,
take
run
it.
with
That's great.
You just send me a copy.
Yeah, there you go. I'll do that.
So, I heard through the grapevine that there was a situation with a young lady who got lost at some point.
Yeah.
And that search and rescue was out there. The world was out looking for this girl, and you were out there for 6 days, and you found her?
No, I wasn't out there for 6 days. I found her the day that I got out there.
Oh, okay.
But
maybe search and rescue had been looking for 6 days.
No, I think things just get exaggerated over time. 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah. Which is, I mean, in the desert, that's
a long time.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about this story. I mean, what's the whole thing here?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of like I don't really share that story very often.
If you don't want to, don't.
No, that's okay. Maybe someday I will. It's like it's just a real personal story.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So pass.
But, I mean, I can give you like the Reader's Digest version, I guess.
Okay.
It's my now fiance, soon to be wife.
Okay.
It was a very very crazy experience when someone you really care about is missing,
right?
And they actually don't think that she's there, or who knows?
Or she's still alive, or whatever, right?
So you're essentially looking for, you don't know what you're going to find.
Right.
It's like if you got a call that your wife's out there, and like, what are you going to find? A body?
Yeah.
You got it's a very
feeling.
Emotional experience. Yeah, but I ended up finding her in the middle of the night, and it was just just one of those things, man. It's you pretty much spend your whole life in the mountains, and you learn to just kind of accept what's around you. And like, one thing that I've really kind of, I don't know if it's just being out there so much or what, but I kind of like, I pay attention to everything. Like everything that I see, I kind of input. And I saw a scuff mark. I was literally like praying, give me a sign, God. And I see this scuff mark that doesn't fit the pattern of a deer, but it's not a track. Out in the middle of the wilderness in the middle of the night. And I go, I'm going to follow this. And I get to this bench, and it's, like I just get that, you get those feelings, like this is the spot. But you get it sometimes when you're hunting. This is a good spot. You get that feeling.
Nothing, ever.
Yeah, but sometimes you go, okay, I got a feeling like there's an elk here, and you sit down and you glass, and there's an elk. It's like that.
That sixth sense.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
So I yell out her name, and nothing, and then I see light on the top of the mountain. And they were supposed to be bringing a FLIR system. Like the Blackhawk had to go back for the day, and because they were out of runtime. But they didn't have a FLIR system on board.
What is a FLIR system?
It's infrared.
Okay.
But in the desert, you can't use infrared in the middle. You can, but it doesn't work that well. You want to use it maybe 4 hours after dark because there's huge temperature variance, so the rocks actually hold heat.
And so it doesn't work.
Yeah, so you want it, you got to use it late, so once the heat dissipates, then you can, see what you're looking
the different.
For. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Otherwise, it gets blended together.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that it was them bringing a FLIR system, like a handheld or some kind of scope or whatever. But it ended up turning out just being some people that weren't supposed to be in there, because they kind of cleared the whole area out.
A bit of false hope there.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of got away from that area that I was like, okay. And then I called my brother and buddy on the radio. I was like, yeah, let's just kind of regroup and figure it out in the morning, maybe post up and be just glassing at first light or something. And so I start to walk down the other canyon. I go, that spot just had a weird feeling. So I walk back to that spot. I sit down and I yell out her name and nothing. And I yell it out again, and then she answers me across the canyon.
Holy shit.
And I thought, no way. So I radioed my brother and my buddy, and I said, hey, I heard her. Get a medical crew up here now. I'm turning my radio off because if I only get to hear her one more time, that could be. It's a giant basin with cliffs all around, and it just echoes in there. I have no clue where that sound came from. So I turned my radio off because I don't want it to be hear someone make a noise and the radio
cover her up.
Off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I yell more and more, nothing, and then I kind of ran in a direction toward where I thought it might have been. I actually thought she was across the canyon. And I yelled again, and I had a spotlight, and I heard it, and I shined the spotlight, and she was 300 yards below me.
Wow.
Where I'd been that whole time, but just didn't know. And those were her tracks going up the mountain. And so we got a medical crew up there and carried her up the mountain and got her out.
Wow.
Essentially saved her life.
So one of the things I was thinking when you were telling that is and then knowing your story on your bear attack, there's a lot of stuff that's happened between the two of you.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff, a lot of danger and a lot of different things. It surely has solidified your guys' meaningfulness to each other.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. Because at that point we weren't dating, but I was like, oh, I had to save your life and get you to re-notice me. Kind of bullshit. I thought it was pretty cool, but whatever.
So, this brings a whole new perspective to what possibly the wilderness would mean to you or to you guys as a couple. This is, like you say, the wilderness gave you the opportunity to be the knight in shining armor.
Exactly. Finally, everybody wants that, right? I'm like, oh, yeah. That chick, yeah, I saved her life.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
That's what I
Brush
do.
It off. But, yeah.
So cool. I always ask people what the wilderness means to them, and it's got. I don't know if I want to hear the answer. It's kind of be a crazy deep question for you.
I
would think.
For me, it's really, it's a lot of I place a lot of value in it. It's where I spend my time. It's where I put a lot of focus. It's where it's where I've grown up. It's where I've pretty much resided for the larger portion of my life. And it's cool. It's home to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people might see these places dangerous or whatever, but to me it's home. It's where I am. It's where I belong. It's where I like to be.
So you go in the big city and you're like, holy shit.
No. It's just I'm one of those people. It's that's maybe what it's taught me is, every situation's different. You just learn to adapt and just, it's wherever I am, I'm okay.
Right.
You just kind of figure it out. You just adapt to whatever the situation is because I think a lot of people there's a lot of things in life that are very structured, and when you go into the wilderness, it's very unstructured. You just don't really know what's going to happen every day of working there or whatever. It's all different. Whether you're just going out on a day hunt, or going out on a multi-week adventure. It's all different.
Yeah, you hear more accidents and more things happening on a one-day gig.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Than a 14-day gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but it's it's really home to me. It's just where I enjoy being, whether it's by myself, with people. I just really love hunting. I really love being out there and just experiencing it all, whether it's me, the one that has the tag, or helping someone else. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So what? You've made quite a career out of the solo hunter concept, right? I mean, I'm not educated on whether it was you or Tim or the two of you, or how did that all come about?
Tim, so the show, like, Tim had the airtime, and then I just randomly was some guy that had a bunch of footage. Like, oh, solo hunter, I've been filming myself like that for years. Why don't we
what makes
team
you so
up?
special?
And so it just ended up working out. They were kind of two weird peas in a solo pod, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, it's so the show's actually Tim's show, but I just show up, give him the razzle dazzle that he likes, and be on my way.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it's obviously, like you say, you guys have both been doing that for so long. You guys are kind of a perfect fit. I mean, even hearing you guys around each other and just kind of, you're co-mingling. I mean, he's kind of like a brother to you in a way,
yeah,
huh?
definitely. Yeah. We get, it's funny though, like we've done that for, I don't know, I guess it's on how many, 8 seasons now. So 6 years or more probably.
Right.
We've only hunted twice together.
No way.
Yep.
Really?
Once in New Zealand,
okay.
and this Mexico trip.
Yeah. And the one you just went on.
Yep. Yeah.
So do you remember meeting me? Austin Manilik introduced me to you in some little bar at ATA the first night.
This year?
A little Irish bar.
Yeah.
And
you
guys were walking out as I was walking in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys were leaving.
Yep.
You guys were blowing down for Mexico, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We were on our way.
What you guys all got one, didn't you?
Yeah, we
see
did.
A picture. Everybody had it.
Everybody got a buck. So it was an awesome trip. That was about 7 years in the making. Me and 3 of my buddies went down to Arizona, and just the first time we all hunted Coues deer together. Just had like October season rifle tags and all got bucks, and just it was like one of the best hunts. It was just a lot of fun. So we're like, man, wouldn't it be cool to do that in Mexico where there's bigger bucks? And so
now you're in another 7-year plan.
Yep.
To get to Mexico to do it.
Now everyone's like, okay, let's do that again next year. I was like, I'm down if you're down.
That sounds
fun.
cool.
Yeah, we had a great time.
So, in all of your hunting experiences, guiding and or personally, is there one that rises to the top?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of hunts that I just kind of remember and go, okay, that's cool. To be 100% honest, most of the ones that I'll remember the longest are ones that it's just like you had to work a little bit
hardest.
for. Yeah, the ones that may not be the biggest animal or whatever, but you remember, oh God, I that kicked my ass.
So
that
the
was
island,
tough. I
right?
didn't see anything. Yeah, I mean,
that elk hunt you went
elk
on.
hunt with my brother.
Yeah, with your brother, yeah.
Mule deer I shot this year. That was just like one of the worst pack outs. I've just got kind of a list of them. They all mean something a little bit different to me. You know, it's like, there's some of them are some of the best hunts are, a hunt that didn't even get anything.
Right.
There's one buck that in Nevada that I hunted for 3 years, never got him. But I remember those times there. I mean, I spent probably more time than I should have chasing that deer and passed up a lot of great bucks with my bow. And I had an opportunity at that buck, and it was just I'll remember that buck forever and never got him.
Right.
So there's those kind of things that you just always take away, and just different trips. Caribou trip with my dad. He actually went a couple of years ago. Got a caribou. That was kind of one of his things that he really wanted to get. So that was cool. And then he went back with me this year, and I got a caribou in the same general area. So, those kind of hunts combined were pretty cool. And got hunts with my brothers and, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Where's your – you've been around a lot of places, man. Where's your favorite spot in the wilderness, that one spot? Like, for instance, when you that's where you want your ashes, or that's some, some –
I think probably kind of where I guide and hunt in Montana.
Home base.
Yeah, there. And then central Nevada, really, like where I got my first buck with a bow. And there's just a lot of good memories there, and it's just it's so remote. It's very rugged, and it's just kind of like a lot of people look at it and go, how could you spend so much time out here? And you go, no, I love it out here. I just see it through a different lens than a lot of people.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can drop me off high desert in Nevada, and it looks beautiful to me. And other people are like, it's brown and ugly. And I'm like, no, you don't get it, man. You don't get it. Like, I like that.
I feel bad about that because I kind of roam around through New Mexico, and I'm like, there is nothing enchanting whatsoever about this state. I don't know who came up with that slogan, right? But, I got to hunt down in 2B this year, muley hunt, and actually, I'll be honest, I sat up on the top of this huge rock bluff, glassing, and I spent a little time up there thinking, there's something cool about this.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you start, coming across arrowheads and different things, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, people who lived here a long time ago, like this was. You start feeling some of that spiritual level of some of that stuff, and it's kind of it's kind of different,
Yeah.
What take me through the normal day in life of Remi Warren, like. What's your gig, man? Do you get up and go straight for a cup of coffee? Do you go straight to the gym at 5 a.m. or what's your gig?
Dude, I just try to be unpredictable. You never know. I roll up and be like, yep, coffee. And then I'm like, no, I'm not drinking coffee this week. And then I might go, get up. No, I'm going to go for a hike, or get up, go skiing, or get up and I kind of just plan it as it happens.
So what else makes you happy other than hunting and your fiance? What else?
Fishing. Fishing. Any kind of outdoor activity, really. Fishing, kayaking, even just hiking. Mostly just outdoor stuff, really.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my go-to stuff. Like if I was, I went to the gym yesterday, but if I had to choose between the gym or like be on the mountain skiing to get my exercise, I think I'd just
go outside.
Stay
out of the concrete box and
exactly.
Go out.
Yeah. But, it just depends, man. Just if there's fresh snow or if there's not, who knows, man.
I used to spend some times like that too. It's like, 9 inches of powder or school.
Yeah,
that wasn't hard.
But, I like all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I haven't skied enough this year, or really hardly at all this year. It's just been crap snow where I'm at. So
yeah, we don't have any snow where I'm at, so I feel lucky you got any.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Southwest Colorado is desolate right now.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Top of Red Mountain Pass has a couple feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it should have 10, 12.
More,
15. Yeah, and it's, I don't know, man. It's doing the herd population some good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not getting their ass kicked this year.
No, it's
like the last few years have been hard.
Yeah,
so they'll ease up. I mean, the turkeys is unreal.
Really?
So they're running amok like crazy.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I know how you feel. You kind of go with the flow, go with the weather, go with how you're feeling, right?
Yeah,
What's up with the fiance, what you want to do, and go hit it.
For sure.
So what's on the future for Remi this year?
Just really kind of I play that draw game like everybody else and see what tags I get. And then depending on those tags, kind of sets out the hunt year. And, I've got more points in more places. And
how many states you play?
Every one.
Every one of them?
Yeah. And, I hate to say it, but, I haven't really drawn a lot of great tags. I've drawn some really good tags. But for the amount of places I've put in for so long, I've got my highest points is 18, and my lowest is, not my lowest, but average about 15, 16 in places and haven't pulled tags. So it's just one of those things like, oh, man.
It's all going to hit in 1 year.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen
about. But, for me, I like hunting general areas just as much as I like hunting those special tags or whatever. So I've always done pretty well. I've drawn a lot of great tags in Alaska. That's kind of the place that I like to apply for. Not that some of them are hard. It just gives me an excuse, like, oh, I drew the tag, I better go hunt it. It's not. It's no better than a general area. It just gives you like a place that you feel like you're obligated to go hunt.
Right.
That's all it is.
Well, and you're getting married this year, you mentioned earlier?
Yep. Yeah, I am. April.
So, cool.
Yep. Yeah.
So how involved have you been in the marriage planning process?
As involved as I need to be.
Skirting it just you get asked a question, you answer it?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not picking the
I'm
colors,
amicable.
you're not picking
I
the
don't care about
flowers.
it. As long as like she shows up and I show up, we're good.
You're not going to do the whole redneck camo wedding?
No.
You're going to do it right.
Yeah. We're just we're actually going to get married in New Zealand while we're over there. So,
cool.
Yeah, just a little thing with the family and
that's
ourselves.
the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, it can just get out of hand, man.
It's crazy.
The whole wedding thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a chef in the day, and I worked at some resorts. Man, it was just unbelievable. Man, it was, holy cow!
Yeah. We aren't like the screaming. It's got to be this way type.
Right, good. So she seems pretty easygoing, man.
Yeah, she is.
What's her name?
Danielle.
Danielle.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, no, we're looking forward to it, and it'll be awesome. Like she's put a lot into it. Like make sure because it's so far away, and just trying to get everything coordinated.
I'm
even
sure just the logistics
for a few people, it's just. But it'll be cool.
Right on.
So, yeah.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what's Solo Hunter going to be doing here soon? You doing anything there? Anything cool we should be looking out for on the horizon?
What my favorite? One of my mule deer hunt from this year would be pretty cool. I got a great buck. Probably one of my favorite. Maybe one of my top mule deer that I just thought this was an awesome buck. It was like a kind of a tough road to get to him, and it was cool. I think that hunt will be good. There's something else that Tim's got some pretty good stuff. The Coos deer trip that we went on, he did some filming for that. I did absolutely no filming. I had no interest in filming that week. I was just there to hang out with my brothers and my buddies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I get to hunt a lot. A lot of the hunting I do necessarily like this last year, I did a lot of hunting, but I didn't do a lot of I have two falls because I got like my southern hemisphere fall, which this year was like really good. And then coming into the fall here, I just kind of ended up helping people more than hunting myself. I didn't really go hunt a lot myself this fall, but I went on a lot of hunts. And some of them. Went to Prince of Wales with my brother, and we did some fishing, and I had a bear tag. I didn't even shoot a bear, but that was pretty cool. And then there was a few others that just helped people out and friends out, and ended up shooting an elk for some meat the last day of the season, which is always cool. Yeah. So there should be some cool, some good solo episodes, and maybe even go film something in Hawaii again. Here this May or April or something. So
Axis, right?
Yep.
Axis
deer. Yeah, that's fun. That's cool. That's kind of one of those places that I don't know. I really like going there and hunting. Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
Well, why? Because it's nice weather.
It's nice weather. Like there's a lot of deer. They're cool animals.
Yeah.
My grandma actually lives there, so it gives me an excuse to go over and visit. Like I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to see grandma, and then like stay at her house, and then we're out hunting all the time. But she's like, do you guys ever sleep? Like we do some like nighttime lobster diving, and then go out spear fishing all day, and then go hunting.
Right.
It's like
taking advantage of the full opportunity is all it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, excellent, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and giving us a little background on stuff I don't hear about you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Some things that I was unfamiliar with, and I'm sure some of my listeners some listeners know everything about you. Some don't. But
I try to keep some things like fairly secretive.
You got to have some privacy, and
a little bit of mystery.
I mean, I appreciate you, sharing a little bit about that situation with your fiance. That's a powerful thing, and it's a life changer. I think,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, even that bear gig you guys got yourselves into. I mean, I've listened to that story a few times, and it's holy crap, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's put a different perspective on.
Oh, definitely.
Different spin on the world, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So.
There's, there's like, just be a little more prepared for that kind of stuff. But
you can get lackadaisical as a hunter,
Yeah. You do something enough times. It's like any job, anybody that does anything a lot. Like if you're a lineman and it's like, all right, the one day you don't clip off right and then you fall.
Yep.
You just like, because you haven't had any instances 3,000 times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that one time that you got to be like, there's a reason that you, whatever. But, so I'm going to just, try to keep a certain way that I do things and just do it, whether people are around or not. Just do it. You just don't know.
That's all it was. But, I mean, I'm just super glad you're here, man.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm super glad you're still walking the earth, right? And
you for sure.
Bones in a bush, man.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Thanks so much, Remi. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Any shout-outs? Anybody where they can find you?
Yeah, pretty much the only thing that I touch these days is probably Instagram. So if you want to, like, at Remi Warren, that's a good place to see what I'm up to. Shoot me a message on there. I generally, like, when I'm on a plane, if I answer you, it's because I'm on an airplane somewhere. I have Wi-Fi, and I'm, like, going through that list. Just
trying to play catch-up
exactly.
and connect to touch up.
Yeah. So.
All right, cool, man. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Wilderness Attitude Podcast. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed that hour we had with Remi. And once again, go throw us a review. I'm sure Remi knows, like Steven Ranella says, right? All you freeloaders, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Show me some love, man. Give me a 1 star. Give me 5. I don't care. But give me something to work with. So anyway, we appreciate it. Thanks, everybody at Wilderness Athlete for having us in the booth. We really appreciate them. And until next time, take care.
Cool.